Hi, my name's Sophia, and I'm going to be reading Tilly Meets Dr. Trauma by Dr. Emily David. This is Tilly. Tilly is a mental health monster. Tilly has experienced a traumatic event and needs help to cope. Tilly is going to tell you her story and will ask you questions along the way. See if you can answer Tilly's questions at the bottom of every page. Tilly is just like lots of other children. She likes to play with toys and read her books. She likes eating ice cream and dressing up. What are your favourite things? Lots of children live in homes with different family members. Some children have a mum and a dad. Some children only have a mum or a dad. Some children have two mums or two dads. Some children have step-parents, and some children have no parents. Some children live with other family members, such as aunts, uncles, or grandparents. Who do you live with? Tilly lives with a foster family. A foster family is a family which looks after and takes care of children who do not have parents or a family who can look after them. There are lots of reasons why some children live with the foster family and why some children do not have parents or a family who can look after them. A child is not to blame if they do not have parents or a family who cannot look after them. Do you know anyone who lives with a foster family? When Tilly first came to live with her foster family, she felt worried and upset. Everything had changed. Everything was new and didn't feel the same as before. Tilly had so many worries that it made her head hurt. Tilly felt sad, angry, and confused that things had changed. She didn't know why everything had changed and she didn't like it. How does it make you feel when things change? Even though Tilly's foster family were kind and friendly, she found it hard to live with a new family and start a new school. She found it hard to trust anyone, and she didn't want or know how to tell people about the thoughts and feelings she had. Tilly would shout and hit out at anyone who tried to talk to her or if they came too close to her. Tilly didn't mean to hurt anyone, she just wanted to be left alone. Who would you talk to if you were feeling sad, worried or angry? Tilly felt different from other children at school. She didn't know anyone else who lived with a foster family. Tilly thought she was to blame that things had changed, and she worried what other children would think about her. She found it hard to join in and have fun, so she stopped playing with other children. At school, she sat by herself, which made her feel sadder and more lonely. Have you ever felt lonely? Tilly stopped wanting to go to school. She stopped playing with her toys, reading books and dressing up. She even stopped eating her favourite ice cream. All Tilly could think about was all the changes that had happened. This made it hard for Tilly to sleep at night. Sometimes she would have nightmares and wet the bed. Tilly was scared she would be in trouble, so she would hide so no one could find her. Have you ever found it hard to sleep? Tilly's foster family were worried about Tilly being very unhappy. They took Tilly to see a special doctor, Dr. Trauma. Dr. Trauma was kind and friendly. Dr. Trauma had lots of toys and books which Tilly could play with. Dr. Trauma works with children who have been through tough times. These tough times are sometimes called traumatic events. Lots of children and grown-ups can go through traumatic events, and sometimes people can find it hard to cope with their thoughts and feelings after a traumatic event has happened. Can you think of any tough times that you have been through? Dr. Trauma helped Tilly and her foster family to understand that sometimes big changes in a person's life can be a traumatic event and hard to cope with. Tilly coming to live with her foster family was a big change for her. Tilly was struggling to cope with this big change. When people find it hard to cope, they might have some of the problems that Tilly has been having. Here are some of the signs that someone might be finding it hard to cope after a traumatic event. Finding it hard to sleep, having headaches and tummy aches, wetting the bed at night, sometimes being quiet and not wanting to talk or join in, feeling worried, upset, angry and confused. Can you think of other things that happen when you're struggling to cope? Dr. Trauma listened to Tilly talk about all the things that were making her feel sad, worried, angry and confused. They talked about the big changes in Tilly's life. They talked about what it was like for Tilly living with her foster family and how she feels different to everyone else. Sometimes it was hard for Tilly to talk and find the right words to describe what she was feeling. Tilly drew pictures which helped Dr. Trauma understand what Tilly was thinking and feeling. The more Tilly talked and drew pictures, the more she felt that Dr. Trauma understood why she was feeling sad, angry and confused. This also helped Tilly's foster family to understand why Tilly was so unhappy. Can you draw a picture that shows how you are feeling today? Together, Dr. Trauma and Tilly found ways to cope with the sad thoughts, memories and feelings. Tilly practiced the new ways of coping every day to help her learn and remember. Here are some of the ways she learnt to cope with her thoughts and feelings. Tilly played these games and practiced the strategies every day so that she learnt when and how the strategies could help her manage upsetting thoughts and feelings. Tilly learnt that she can use the games and strategies at home and at school. Throwing and catching a ball with someone or bouncing it on the ground. Playing the 5-4-3-2-1 game. Look around the room you're in and name 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can touch, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. See if you can practice these strategies. What do you notice? One of Tilly's favourite ways of coping she learned is to give herself butterfly hugs. Butterfly hugs help Tilly to feel calm and relaxed. Here are Tilly's top tips to give yourself a butterfly hug. Number 1, find somewhere quiet to sit. Number 2, cross your arms across your chest and tap slowly and gently, giving yourself a butterfly hug. And number 3, take some deep, calming breaths. The more Tilly uses her strategies, the more calm she feels. She is able to cope better with upsetting thoughts and feelings when she feels calm. See if you can practice giving yourself a butterfly hug. Tilly also learnt how to cope with feeling upset by imagining her calm place. A calm place is somewhere you feel relaxed and calm. It can be somewhere real or somewhere you make up in your imagination. Tilly pictures herself sitting in a beautiful garden filled with flowers. The sun is shining and she is eating a great big huge ice cream covered in sprinkles and with a chocolate flake. Tilly drew a picture of her happy place and put it next to her bed. If she ever finds it hard to imagine her calm place or she can't sleep, Tilly looks at the picture she drew, which helps her to remember. Where would your happy place be? Can you imagine it? Tilly began to feel happier and more confident. She stopped hiding and shouting at other people. She started joining in and making friends. She stopped having headaches and a head full of worries. She stopped having nightmares and wetting the bed. Tilly started to play with her toys and read her books. She started enjoying eating ice cream again. Working with Dr. Trauma helped Tilly to talk about and understand her thoughts and feelings. Tilly knows that she is not to blame for the big changes that happened. Tilly stopped worrying that she is different from other children. She learnt lots of children like her live with a foster family. Most importantly, Tilly learnt that she can cope with big changes and to ask for help if she is struggling to cope. The top things that Tilly wants you to remember are: all families are different. A child is not to blame if they do not have parents or a family who can look after them. Sometimes big changes in our lives can be difficult to cope with. If you're feeling sad, worried, angry or confused, it is important that you tell someone that you trust how you're feeling. There are lots of things that you can do to help you cope. Try some of the ideas in this book. Be kind to everyone. People might have problems or difficulties you don't know about. Thank you very much for watching and listening with me. This is one of 10 of the Mental Health Monster books that you can find on the Hampshire CAMHS website.